Hi, my name is TF Spirit, and high school sucks. You either loved your time in high school or you hated it, and I am firmly in the hate category. We all had those crappy experiences in school, failing a test, freaking out about college, getting bullied, not getting a date for prom, being forced to fight giants and monsters that will brutally murder you and for you to be resurrected just to die again for all eternity. No? Just me? I guess we went to different schools. Last year had a rough life. Being initially released on the Discord store, remember the Discord store? Me neither, then later released on Steam to relatively positive reviews, the game was never really able to keep hold of a massive audience. This isn't helped by the fact that the original dev team, Elastic Games, would sometimes go months without saying anything. This left many fans of last year without much to look forward to, and the state of the game was left in and it wasn't the greatest. So when it was announced that the company was declaring bankruptcy and that the game was shutting down, it was disappointing but not unexpected. Many talked it up as another corpse in the massive pile of ASIM games that Dead by Daylight sits on, but others decided that last year was going to go down a fight. This led to Last Year Resurrection, a mod made by some pretty awesome people that made the game playable again. Enter stage right, Undaunted Games, which bought the IP, making the game playable again, and they're working on a sequel re-release? I'm not really sure. We got our first look at the game at PAX, and outside of the crappy convention internet quality and the Breaking Bad lighting, the game looks good in its updated engine. So in this video, I'm going to talk about Last Year After Dark, the current version that's free on Steam, my history with the game, the things I like and dislike about it, and why I like it so much. If you want a full dive into last year's history, I recommend you watch this video from Professor Monster, the same guy that got me a CC role in the last year Retro server. He's also a pretty funny guy, so give him a follow anyway. I feel like I should briefly talk about my history with this game before I get into my review. I didn't play this game on launch as I didn't own a PC. My only experience with Discord last year was watching JFJ and H2 Delirious videos. I only started playing After Dark after I remembered the game even existed when I saw it on my Steam page. I streamed the game with my shitty little wolf girl PNG tuber and I had a great time. In this stream, I met Professor Monster, Toons, and most of the amazing people who worked on the Resurrected mod. They, nicely, but swiftly, kicked my ass, but I had an amazing time either way. When the game died and I heard a wind of the Resurrected mod, I met the requirement for the CC role, and Monster gave it to me, which made me feel way more important than I actually was. I even got to play with the team for some games where they kicked my butt again. They were all lovely people who I could tell really loved this game. Unfortunately, I recorded those games during a pretty bad time in my life, so I had no motivation to edit or do much of anything. So the footage lingered on my hard drive and now has disappeared. Yo, psych. I actually found my footage from Resurrected while editing this video. I'm probably going to do like a standalone funny moments video from that, so subscribe if you want to see that. So yeah, I just wanted to cut in. If anyone on the Resurrected team sees this video, thank you for dealing with my moody ass, and sorry I got CC'd and did nothing. Anyway, when After Dark officially came back, I played the game more and recorded a lot of Fiend footage, which is what you're probably seeing in the background this whole video. I added this little preamble part because I felt like it was important to know where I'm coming from on my own opinions. Anyway, let's do the review part now. Hey, so before I open my big fat mouth and start talking about the games, I just thought you all should know something. I recorded some Classmate footage because I didn't have any because I don't play Classmate, often at least, and 2 out of the 4 games I played had a hacker in it, so you can probably see in some of the footage people speeding around and placing infinite proximity mines. Yeah, no, that's a hacker. Yeah, so 2 out of the 4 games, half of them I experienced a cheater, and didn't know what to do, so I just got some IGN looking shots of just the environment for whatever. So yeah, you might just see random clips of that because I didn't have enough footage otherwise. So yeah, I'm not playing with cheaters, I promise. There are 2 versions of Last Year on Steam. The Nightmare, which is the original Discord release, and After Dark, which is the updated game. I'll only talk about After Dark in this video because most of the core mechanics and talking points transfer from game to game, and I also have never played Nightmare, so yeah. In Last Year After Dark, you either play as a classmate who has to complete objectives to escape, or a fiend whose job it is to stop the classmates at all cost. As a classmate, you start by picking a class. Each class has its own unique items, and the assault can make football helmets to give you much needed protection. Then, you try to complete the map objectives and gather scrap along the way to make your items. Do all that, and then make a mad dash to the exit. The game is very unique in the genre, as it promotes fighting back as a classmate. You can kill the fiend, giving your team some time to breathe. On the flip side, you are flimsy and can die very easily. Don't worry though, you can always come back. As long as one classmate is still standing, they can rescue dead teammates through these Left 4 Dead doors, giving them another chance. While the classmates sound strong, the fiend have their own tricks. You select 3 fiends when the game starts and can swap when you die, letting you adapt to the situation you're about to walk into. The fiends also have Predator mode, in which you can speed around the map, place traps, and get into ambush spots, which instantly kill any classmate that you catch in it. They can't attack in this mode, and they can't swap in and out when too close to classmates or within a classmate's vision. Each fiend has their own unique abilities, like the Strangler, who can throw his chain and drag classmates to him, and a smoke grenade to disorient groups. Each fiend has strengths and weaknesses that require some thinking to work around. The classmates relying on flamethrowers and mollies, play Slasher and approach with your fire resistance. Classmates stacking armor so they're hard to kill, play Giant and throw them off something. Let's see your football help you now, Chad. The voice acting is really good. You can tell the VAs gave these roles their all, despite the roles being slasher stereotypes. The maps look visually nice and remind me of some of the high schools I've been in. But as much as I love this game, I would be dishonest if I said it was perfect. A match's difficulty can be changed drastically depending on who you face. If you face a competent team as a fiend, you're probably gonna get rolled, and vice versa for classmate. Since sticking with your team is encouraged, fiends like Strangler have problems getting any kills. Some objectives are way too tedious for their own good, like taking the floppy disk on the library map. Speaking of library, some maps are poorly balanced, giving one side a massive advantage. The library map is one of the worst offenders of this, with an underground area that has a maze with no escape routes, a couple of ambush spots, and so many line of sight blockers for the fiend to use. You see the problem there? Speaking of those ambush spots, ambushes are horrible. They are the definition of a noob trap because they never change, so once you learn where they are, or just use the scanner, you will never walk into one unless you're forced to it by the fiend, which in that case they probably should just kill you. Every ambush is character specific, so once you know what you're up against, you can just ignore most of the spots. The whole game needs some balance changes, but the lackluster ambushes and the unbalanced maps are my biggest concerns. And that's the current state of the game. Pretty good with some slight flaws. Now, what about Forest Hills? I have to say this right away, all the footage we've seen is from early builds of the game. It's not finished and everything is subject to change. That being said, I'm divided. The actual gameplay looks alright, same as what we're used to with Undaunted spin on it. Just wish I wasn't seeing it through a bottle of Sunkist. Seriously, it's supposed to look like dawn or sunset, but it looks like I got hit by a phoenix flash. The models just look off, like they were made for a comic aesthetic, and in the screenshots it looks pretty good, but in game it just looks off. They did say recently they were dropping the comic book look, which I guess is a good thing. I know it's an alpha build and I should cut it some slack, but last year has already had a rocky life and Undaunted needed to put their best foot forward with a more finished build, and they just didn't. Even though this isn't the greatest first impression, I have full faith in Undaunted. You don't buy a relatively unknown IP if you don't have some passion for it. So if anyone from Undaunted is watching this video, first of all, hi, how are you? I have full faith in you guys, and I can't wait to see what you all cook up. If you're still watching this, if you watched all the way through the video, and you haven't played last year yet, go do it. After Dark is free on Steam, so grab some buddies and hop into the nightmare. Now, if you need me, I'm gonna go feed the class spider. Thanks for watching, leave a like, drop a comment if you have something to add, subscribe, stay safe, and have a good night.